right, folks. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Coach Micheal Burt. I hope you're doing great. We had um, basically over 200 people register for the webinar. So we're going to see how many folks show up tonight. And I'm excited about delivering this concept for you because out of all of the concepts that I teach and all of the books that I've been fortunate to write, there's probably one book that has been more popular than a lot of the books, and it's the book on person of interest. How do you become the go-to player in your space, and how do you become a known quantity in the world? And tonight I'm going to teach you this because when you think about this concept, if you nail this concept, life gets better. If you nail this concept, opportunity comes to you. If you nail this concept, you get out of the business of chasing opportunity and into the business of attracting opportunity. And so tonight I'm going to give you tactics, strategies, mindsets, hacks on ways to become a person of interest in the world. And this is coming at a good time because one of the things that we've had success with this week, and thanks a lot to my media director who's on here, Gabby Garrett, is, I was featured in Forbes magazine this week, which is a big win. And not only that, we're doing big things in the world. We're helping business owners around the country. We have clients in Singapore, London, all over the world. People are being impacted by our work. So let me start by asking you some questions. Number one, thank you for being here tonight, but let me ask you some questions to get started. How many of you have ever said to yourself, man, I want to be famous when I grow up? The word famous means known, renowned, celebrated, right? How many of you have ever said, man, when I grow up, I want to be somebody? I want to be somebody big in the world. I want to be known. I want to be renowned. I want to be celebrated. That was me. Even as a young kid, I said, man, I want to matter in the world. I want to do something big. I want to do something extraordinary, right? These are things that I wanted to do. And, as you're thinking about it, if you've ever had that desire, if you've ever had the desire to be known, if you've ever had the desire to be renowned, if you've ever had a desire to be somebody in the world, then you want to be a person of interest. And oddly enough, when you want to be a person of interest, it's not for selfish reasons. At the end of the day, you want to matter. You want to count. You want to create something. You want to do something, right? And because of that, that's probably why you're here tonight, is you have a desire to be known. Now, what's going to happen when you become a person of interest? And what's going to happen, Lakin Hibden, who's on my team, she's telling me to post this on Facebook. I'm trying, Lakin. I'm working on it. I'm trying to make it go live, but it ain't going live, okay? So something ain't working quite right on that. Now, what happens when you become a person of interest in the world is you're going to inspire. You're going to breathe life into people all over the world. And you're going to matter. You're going to live a life of meaning and significance and influence. I think about Mother Teresa, person of interest. I think about people that have done big things in the world. Elon Musk, person of interest. I think about John Maxwell, that's written 75, 80 books, person of interest. I think about Michael Jordan, person of interest. I think about some of the biggest people in the world who have moved the world forward. That's the reason you want to be a person of interest. Now, as a salesperson, why do you want to be a person of interest? Because you don't want to chase leads. You're probably tired of chasing business all over the world. You're probably tired of, right? Like because of these things, you want to be big. Now, I noticed John said from China, yeah, man, I want to be known in China. I want to be known all over the world. So that's what we're going to teach you tonight, is how do you become a known quantity in the world? How do you become a person of interest? And I'm going to give you some of these tactics and some of these strategies. Now, I want to encourage you, stick around to the end. It looks like out of the 200 people that registered, roughly 56 of you have showed up tonight. So I want to congratulate you. Number one, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you some options to engage with me at a higher level and let me be your coach And I think it'll be well worth it because I can really teach you how to be a person of interest. Today, I'm working with the CEO of a $1 billion company. I'm here in Nashville. And I said, man, one of the biggest strategies as he's as embarking on this turnaround job that he's been hired to do is I said, I want to make you into a person of interest. And that's going to mean I want to do a book. I want a podcast. I want all of these things, right? Tina Love, I'm in Nashville today. I want to do all of these things to help grow your person of interest status. Why? Because when we grow your person of interest status, it helps you recruit more people. It helps you attract more people. It helps you grow the brand. It helps bring people to you. That's why we want to become people of interest. And so if you're a salesperson, that's what we want. Now, where did person of interest come from? I'm sitting in a restaurant on a Saturday morning, and I am literally sitting there. I'm just starting my business, my coaching business many years ago. And I've been taught these things. How many of you were taught these things? Chase business, chase leads, try to sell people, try to convince people, try to manipulate people, join the local chamber, call 100 people a week, right? How many of you were taught, in essence, chase business? Wake up every day and chase business. And let me ask you a question. How exhausting is that? So I'm sitting in a restaurant on a Saturday morning with one of my best friends. And I write down, I said, man, I don't want to chase anything. Chasing anything sucks. What I want to do is build a business that is so attractive that people are chasing me. My demand is high. My incoming flow is high. And I want to become so valuable in the world that people want a piece of me. And they're willing to come from all over the world to get it. That's what I want to do. And I remembered a quote from the great Jim Rohn. And he said, to attract other people, we must become attractive. And I started thinking, well, man, I'm not 6 foot. I'm not 6'3". I don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. Like, how do I become attractive, right? Do I wear nicer suits? No. It has to do with ingredients that I'm going to show you tonight. And I said, man, there's certain ingredients of people of interest that they have. And if I could just attain those ingredients, I'm going to be more attractive to the market. And when I'm more attractive to the market, people are going to seek me out. People are going to want a relationship with me. And so I wrote down 3 words on a napkin. I wrote down person of interest. I want to become a person of interest. You could substitute the word influence. I want to be an influential person. Okay. And so this kind of started the course of me writing the book. I was simultaneously in a coaching program with Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach. And Dan Sullivan was running a $25 million coaching company, and he took off 200 days a year. He only worked 165 days a year. I want you to get your mind around that. He took off 200 days, right? And he worked 165 days. It doesn't mean he's laying around the house doing nothing. He just structured a business. And I remember in one of the very first courses that we had, I remember him coming into class, and man, they said, man, there's Dan Sullivan, right? There's Dan Sullivan. Like, that is the man. Like, that's Dan Sullivan. He is the person of interest. And I just thought it was fascinating because the man had walked in the room. The guy who created the concept walked in the room. Like, boom, Dan Sullivan's in the room. And when Dan Sullivan walked in, man, everybody picked up their notepad and everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's Dan Sullivan. That is the Dan Sullivan. He's the guy who created the program. Boom, he's the guy. I'm like, I want to be like that dude. And from 18 to 25, I studied a guy named Dr. Stephen Covey. And man, I said, when I grow up, I want to be influential like him. I want to help people like Dr. Covey. I want to help people perform at a higher frequency like him. Okay. Now, let's talk about this for a minute, because many of you have this desire. You got the same desire I had. I want to be known. I want to be a person of interest. Here is the beliefs this course tonight is built on. Number one, I believe the people who get the most attention get the most opportunity. Think about right now, one person in your industry that dominates. Now tell me, is it not true that that person doesn't get more attention than everybody else? The people who get the most attention get the most opportunity. It ain't always the best people. It ain't always the best looking people. It ain't always the most experienced people. The best product doesn't always win. The best marketed product wins, right? It's like I've been speaking with other people before, and I'm like, man, I know I'm better than that dude is. Why is he making 10 times the amount of money I'm making? Because he's a 10 times better marketer. He's not better, he's better known. Okay. And reputational capital helps you become known. The people who get the most opportunity, people who get the most known, get the most opportunity. Number two, the best products don't win. The best marketed products do. You are a product. If you're a solopreneur, singlepreneur, book writer, coach, own a business, I've had to learn to go from being a great coach to a great marketer, because it don't matter how good I am as a coach. It matters how good I can market my coaching services. It matters how much I can become known on planet Earth. It matters how many people can I get in front of, right? Number three, everything is based on perception. Everything is based on perception. Why is it important to be in Forbes magazine? Because Forbes magazine is associated with prestige. When you make it to Forbes, you've done something. When you do something big in the world, right? Because everything's based on perception, which is why optics are important, which is why credibility indicators are important, which is why strategic partnerships are important, which is why being seen with key people is important. Because in today's world, everything is based on perception, right? Number four, you can build that perception through certain actions that you take. Now, let me give an example. To be a person of interest, you need a platform. In the old days, politicians stood on a platform to stand up above the noise, right? To stand up above the noise. Now, here's the deal. The reason they stood up above the noise was because they wanted to position themselves on a platform. So everybody was looking up at them. Now, here's the saying. In the old days, you had to be famous, celebrity, artist, musician, right? To be famous. And today you don't. The key word today is connection. How many people feel connected to you? How many people feel like they know you? How many people feel like they know you and your family, right? How many people believe that you have something valuable to say to the world? So my first platform, I want you thinking right now, what is my platform? You build a platform by doing something unique, extraordinary, abnormal. You create something, you start something, you improve something, gives you a platform. Okay. My first platform to become a person of interest is I was a championship women's basketball coach. And I took a place that had never won, right? I took a place that had never won and I turned it into a championship program. Okay. And let me tell you why that gave me a little bit of status, because nobody had ever done that before at that school. So I was constantly in the newspaper. I was being interviewed. I was on the front page of the paper. People started to talk about me in a certain way. This guy knows how to win. He knows how to produce. He's a motivator. And let me tell you something that changed everything for me is a newspaper writer, this back in the days where everybody read the newspaper, wrote one article about me, and it was on the front page of the newspaper, the local newspaper. It means 100,000 people read it. And it said, local coach experiences success off the court as a top motivator. And it had a big picture of me on the front paper, on the front of the newspaper. And I was holding my hand up like number one, and I was coaching. It was an action shot. And it talked about how I had started writing books, how I was doing motivational speaking, how I was out in the world. It talked about how I was so much more than just a high school basketball coach. Now, this one article, this is very important for you to remember, began to change the way people saw me. Before, they thought of me as high school basketball coach, pretty good high school basketball coach. They didn't know that I was this top motivator, that I studied the psychology of inner engineering people, that I was building my own greatness factory. They just thought I was a good high school basketball coach because that's all they had ever seen. Part of person of interest is having other people edify you, give you a platform. So my first question for you to dig into, one of my first secrets is, how do you build a platform? How do you have something valuable to say? How do you create something extraordinary? How do you achieve some success that other people are not achieving? What have you done in your life that other people would say, that's cool, man. That's cool, right? Like I'm in a building right here, downtown Nashville, that's owned by a billionaire. A billionaire is a person of interest because they've created over $1 billion of value. To have a net worth of over $1 billion, you've had to do something right. So it gets people's attention. How many billionaires are there in the world, right? And billionaires create interesting things. They create companies, they create value, they create something in the world, right? So when that dude walks in a room, it's like, oh, hey, that dude's a billionaire with a B, right? Done something big. What do those big time people do? They create things. They have guts. They take action. Okay. So the first question I would ask you, and I would love for you to comment in the comments in the chat section. What do you feel like you've done that's been unique, extraordinary? Now, when I was this little high school basketball coach, right, 20 years ago, I wasn't thinking like that. I was just trying to win a championship. And then I wrote my first book at 25 years old. Now I'm a championship coach and an author. So I want you to type into the comments, to be a person of interest, we got to have a platform. We got to stand above the noise. And the way we stand above the noise is we create something. Type in, what do you think? Hey, man, I have done something unique. I have created something. I have started something. I have had some success. I'd love to see your comments in the chat section. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Gabby Garrett said, I taught yoga in Belize Central Prison and did an interview with the CEO. That's good. I made friends, lots of friends throughout the U.S. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Keep going. I'd love to see your comments. Now, you may say, man, I don't think I've really done anything unique. I would disagree. You probably have. You just don't know how to think about it. Okay. Jamie said, I've created. Let me look at some of these because these are good. I've built food trucks from empty trailers. There we go. I created a business, created a unique appointment setting business for insurance agents. Holly Perry, good. 28 years as a high school football referee, created an environment of medicine. The root cause. Okay, good. These are all important. Here's the deal. What we're looking for is something big. Okay. Now, let me give you one example here. A few years ago, I was trying to generate some buzz. I was trying to become known, Dylan. And I was sitting around the office one day and I said, man, there's two things we got to do, man. We got to become known. I got a new book out called Zebras and Cheetahs. How do I get attention for the book? And somebody said to me, man, we got to have a reality TV show. I'm like, reality TV show? I like this. Keep talking. How do I create a reality TV show? And I had no idea what I was doing, by the way. None. Zero. Zilch. But I put together a little skeleton crew and I created a concept. It was kind of a cross between Shark Tank, Amazing Race, and The Apprentice. And if I could have just figured out how to get The Bachelor on there, it would have been an even bigger hit. And I figured out a way to get on the CW network. And I shot 4 episodes of a reality TV show called Zebras and Cheetahs. And it was new. It was different. It drew attention to the book, right? Like that helped me become more known. The second thing I did, the second thing I did is I said, let's break a world record. Let's figure out some way to do something. And a guy on my team said to me, said, Coach, why don't you set the Guinness Book of World Records for most speaking engagements in a day? And I said, well, how many is the most speaking engagements in a day? And he said, there really is no record. One dude spoke for 16 straight hours. I'm like, why don't we do 40 speaking engagements in a day? Why don't I go to 40 little different places, 40 companies, and create 40 speaking engagements in one day where I come in and coach companies for 15 minutes. We outlined it. I spoke at 40 different little small businesses in one day. Guess what I figured out? I could have hit 80. If it had been better planned, I could have hit 80. But I did 41 little coaching sessions in one day. Made the front page of the newspaper, probably set a world record, all of these things. Now, when they introduced me at speaking engagements, here's what they say. Coach Burt holds a world record for most speaking engagements in a day, 41. And the audience goes, 41? How do you do 41? Don't matter how I did it. I did it. That is person of interest stuff. So what we want to do is we want to become known in the world, okay? So the first thing we got to think about being known in the world is what are we going to become known for? What are we becoming known for, okay? What are we becoming known for? Okay, that's number one to being a person. That's secret number one is got to become known for something. Okay, we got to put a stake in the ground. It says, this is what I'm going to be famous for. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to create. This is the platform I'm going to use. Okay, because what we really understand and what a real problem is we got a couple of different problems. Number one, obscurity is our number one problem. And I 100% believe this. Obscurity is you are hidden from the world. I did a session once called Hidden Potential. And when I looked up the word hidden, it means not in plain sight. The word public relations means good works well publicized, right? The word hidden means obscure. You are hidden from the world. You're really good, but nobody knows it. How many of you think you're really good in the world, but nobody knows it? Right? How many of you think that, man, you got something so good, but the problem is nobody knows it? You got a low person of interest score. Okay, so this is your problem. You're unknown, you're obscure, you're not celebrated. Here's a real problem. You're selling to too few people. Okay, now I like to use the law of diffusion. And I really want you to get this because it ties into how many people you really have to go through to do something big in the world. Okay, and if you're watching this, Gabby Garrett, who's on my team, can type this in because this is something that changed my life. It's called the law of diffusion. The law of diffusion says that for everybody you meet or talk to, roughly 2.5% of people will be early adopters, innovators. That means they'll see you, like you, and take action with you. But look how small that number is, 2.5%. Then it says 13.5% will be early adopters, which means they see it one or two times and they take action on it. That's 16%. I want you to remember that number because some of you are going out into the marketplace and you are presenting ideas and you're known by very few percent of people. This says for every 350 people you're in front of, roughly 16% of people are going to see it, like it, do something with you. Okay. Now, 34% are what's called early majority. This means they need to see something 3 to 7 times. Okay. So think of innovators, 1 time, boom, I'm in. Think of early adopters, 1 to 3 times, boom, I'm in. Think of early majority, 3 to 7 times. So I see that dude, Coach Burt. I like him. I like his little bald head. I like the fact he's a little basketball coach. Boom, 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 right? But I'm not engaging with him yet. I need to see it 3 to 7 times. Now, late majority represents 34% of people. They need to see it 7 to 15 times. Okay, they got to see it and see it a lot. Here's the first thing I would tell almost every person on here, because a lot of you guys I follow. And here's what I would tell you. You're not doing enough to be a person of interest. You're not producing enough content. You're not posting enough on social. You're not doing enough strategic partnerships. You're not being seen with enough people. You're not creating enough stuff. Like you're secret agents. There's 2 things you can't be as a person of interest. You can't be lazy, because I've never met a lazy person of interest, number 1. And number 2, you can't produce low volume of anything to be a person of interest in today's world. You're competing versus the national news. You're competing versus celebrities. You're competing versus whatever. You're not competing versus the local real estate agent in your market. You think you are. No, you're competing versus everybody. So some of you, when it comes to this law of diffusion, the reason you're not a person of interest is because you're getting in front of too few people. Like you see this background I have. This was me speaking at 10X to 10,000 people. We generated $1 million of business from me speaking to these 10,000 people. So my next thought was, how do I get in front of 10,000 people? How do I get in front of 10,000 people every day? How do I grow my audience? How do I grow my Facebook people? How do I grow my Instagram? How do I grow this? How do I grow that? I need more people. I don't need more money. I need more people. The people have the money, right? Would you rather have $1 billion or 1 billion friends? If you had 1 billion friends, you make more than $1 billion. Part of being a person of interest is feeding more people into the funnel. I need people everywhere, which means I need content I'm pushing out consistently. I need events that I'm doing. I need strategic partnerships. I need media. I need video. I need books. I need content. Like, part of being a person of interest is, man, I got something to say. Dadgummit, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it with as much frequency as you can imagine. I'm going to say it and say it and say it again. And I'm going to keep saying it. And we'll come back to that in just a second. Now, when you think about people of interest, so what I just gave you was a formula, law of diffusion. Some of you, it's like throwing a pebble in the Pacific Ocean. You got a little concept, you share it 1 or 2 times. You can't figure out why you're not getting any incoming calls, why people around the country are not following you. You're not doing something big enough. You're not saying anything unique, and you're not saying it enough. Okay, I think of it this way. I got a mission, and I got a message, and I'm the messenger. And I'm going to go to the rooftop and sing it as loud as I can, as often as I can, as much as I can. And what's going to happen is I'm going to separate out people who ain't interested in the message. That law of diffusion tells me when I give my message, dadgummit, everybody needs a coach in life. Everybody should be people of interest. 16% of people are going to go, amen, let's go. 34% are going to say, I like this dude. I need to see him a few more times. 34% are going to say, I like him, but I'm skeptical. 16% of people are going to say, I don't like that dude, which is perfectly fine. I'm only looking for people that are looking for me. Okay. Now, what I want to stop right there. If you got a question, type it in the chat box or the Q&A, and I will tackle the questions both throughout the process and at the end. Now, what are ingredients of people of interest? Okay. What are ingredients of people of interest? All right. Looks like John is raising his hand. John, would you like to ask a question? Let me unmute you there. Okay. All right, John, you can type your question in if you want, big guy. Okay. I'm going to lower your hand there. And I'm going to go back to gallery view. I'm not going to remove you, disable talking. There we go. All right. If you got a question, just type it in the chat box or the Q&A. Okay. Now, what are ingredients of people of interest? How many of you have ever met a person of interest and just being in their presence, you were like, oh, dang, this dude's operating at a high frequency. What does this guy have that I want? Okay. I want you to think of it like this. There are self-actualization things where our goal of being a person of interest is to self-actualize. Thank you, Timothy. Our goal is to get to a high frequency, right? Because when you're in the presence of people that are operating at a high frequency, you're like, dang, what's that dude doing? What's she doing? Well, on that napkin that day, I wrote down ingredients. I said, man, people of interest have ingredients, right? And what ingredients do they have? Here are 9 ingredients of people of interest. And Gabby can type these in as we're going. Because when you look at most people of interest, when I wrote the book, Person of Interest, I studied people and saw, man, they got these 9 things. Number 1, they've got specific knowledge. Don't miss this. It's very important. They don't have general knowledge. They've got specific knowledge. I want you to think of heart surgeon versus general practitioner. I want you to think of a Navy SEAL versus just a Navy member. I want you to think of a specialist. Most people of interest are specialists. They don't just have knowledge of everything. They got a very specialized knowledge. Most of them have learned under the best. I studied under Dr. Stephen Covey for 8 years. They have apprenticed or are under a master. They've studied under a person of influence. They watched how a person, just look at Napoleon Hill, who spent time with Carnegie and Rockefeller and all the greats to generate this book, Think and Grow Rich. He was a specialist. Okay. Number two, most people of interest have a primary skill. Now, what do I mean by that? When you think about a primary skill, Zuckerberg, that founded Facebook, was a coder. Cardone was a great salesman. P.T. Barnum was a great marketer, right? You go back and you look at the greats and you ask, what is this person's primary skill? And you say, oh, their skill was this. Okay. When I look at a person of interest, I'm like, dang, that dude's got an incredible skill. I don't believe money buys you freedom, folks. I believe skills buys you freedom. Okay. My buddy Hoss Pratt's writing a book called Skillionaire. You don't become a millionaire until you become a skillionaire. Now, if I ask you today, what is your primary skill? And what problem does it solve? And for whom does it solve it? And who would write you the largest check for that skill? Could you tell me? And you couldn't say vague, generic, basic. I'm a good person. I work hard. I'm a good people person. I have a good attitude. Like what I need to know is what specific skill can you have? Do you have? Right? Timothy asked the question, for someone who didn't start as early in life, in their 40s, can you still achieve? Absolutely, Timothy. You're just getting started, man. In some ways, I'm 44 years old, but I'm just getting started. I found my primary skill very early in life, and I was lucky to do that. My primary skill is coaching, activating the prey drive in a person, packaging and delivering content in a way that gets people to move. That's my primary skill. Some people may believe it's communicating. You have to find your primary skill. When you're a person of interest, man, you got specific knowledge and you got a primary skill. You don't have an ordinary skill. You got an ordinary skill, you make ordinary money. You got a primary skill. I use this skill to solve a problem. This is why the specialists with the primary skills make the most money, folks, because they got impeccable skills. They got a primary skill. Now, let's look at ingredient number 3, which is incredible prey drive. People of interest. I have never personally met a lazy person of interest. Some people think that they can be lazy and be a person of interest, but I would tell you by watching their work ethic, I have never in my life met a lazy person of interest. People of interest are willing to do things other people are not willing to do. They're willing to go places other people are not willing to go. They're willing to show up early, stay late. They got a very high prey drive. They aspire to become big time people in the world. They're willing to do whatever it takes, right? When Oprah called Robert Kiyosaki and said to him, I need you to be on my Oprah Winfrey show tomorrow, he was in Hawaii. He's like, when do you need me to be there? Tomorrow. Okay, I got to get on a plane right now. Now, guess what? When you got to be there tomorrow on Oprah, guess what you don't have time to do? Practice. You don't have time to practice. You don't have time to run through your slideshow. Like, I believe people of interest could be dropped off anywhere at any time in any market, and they can figure out how to win because they got a primary skill, like a Swiss Army knife. They're specialists, right? This new show called Undercover Billionaire, they drop a billionaire off in Erie, Pennsylvania. He doesn't have a cell phone with any contacts in it. He can't tell people he's a billionaire. He has $100 in his pocket. That's all he's got. And his goal is to reproduce $1 million in 90 days. Now, how many of you, if I dropped you off in Erie, Pennsylvania, where you knew no one, your cell phone didn't have any contacts, you couldn't tell people who you were, you had to start with $100, could produce $1 million in 90 days. That is a person of interest, right? That's a person of interest, guys. Skills are incredible, right? Skills are incredible. Knowledge is incredible. Prey drive is incredible, okay? Fourth ingredient of people of interest is they have a contagious confidence about them. They don't just have confidence, they got a contagious confidence. Now, where does that confidence come from? Okay, now, where does that confidence come from? Okay, now, when you think about this, I want to ask this question because a lot of people really, really need to understand this. Where does confidence come from, Suleo? Confidence comes from the memory of success. The way you become a person of interest is you've done this something so many times with such a frequency. You've worked the muscle. that other people look at you and go like, dang, man, they got an incredible confidence. Selling is about confidence. People of interest have confidence coming out of their ears, right? They are not afraid to ask for anything. They're not afraid to close people. They're not afraid to stop. People of interest like, hey, I know I'm good because I've been doing it for 25 years, man. I got a certainty about me. I'm not arrogant, but I'm confident. You give me this group of people and I can make it work. Like I'm confident. If I can coach you for a period of time, like I've coached thousands of people, I know I can get you to a higher frequency. I know it. There's a confidence there. It's not an arrogance. I do it out of complete humility, but I know because I've done it so many times, I can get you there. People of interest have confidence. Now, I want to stop right there. And out of those four things, knowledge, skill, desire, confidence, which one do you think you're missing? Let's just start with those four. I want you to type in, out of those four things, which one do you think you're missing the most? Okay. Are you missing specific knowledge, skill, high prey drive, or confidence? Okay. I'm going to take a second right now and look through these. Confidence, confidence, confidence. Okay. Prey drive. Okay. Jamie Rios. Good. Tina Love, primary skill. Okay. Thank you for, okay. John Bell. Good. Tricia, prey drive. Gabby, I want you to see these things. Prey drive. Good. It's a good thing I'm writing a book on prey drive called Flip the Switch 2021. Confidence. Okay. So I'm seeing primary skill a lot. I'm seeing prey drive a lot, and I'm seeing confidence a lot. Okay. Now let me show you a formula that I use. When you have a primary skill that has been refined over a long cycle of time, you then have a high prey drive to use that skill because confidence feeds confidence. And you also have a lot of confidence. When I have knowledge, when I have skill, when I have drive, I have confidence. Okay. Body, mind, heart, spirit. Body, skill, knowledge for the mind, skill for the body, desire for the heart, confidence for the spirit. Now, I'm going to give you 4 other ingredients, and you tell me where you're missing, because people of interest have these, and then we're gonna move to what you can do to drive your person of interest score. How do you become known in the world? Next ingredient, likability. Now, if you notice, I smile, I'm upbeat, I'm positive, I'm intense, and I'm positive. Category number 5 is likability. I could substitute this word for energy. Man, you just bring an energy about you, an optimism. You're likable. I like doing business with you. You are an asset to me. You bring a good perspective. You're not a Debbie Downer. You're an upper, right? Like you bring energy. It's like, boom, I like this girl. She brings a lot of energy. She's likable and she's very skilled. Boom, boom, boom. What if you're not very skilled? You're not that likable, right? And you bring bad energy. It's like, hey, we need to replace this one with somebody else, right? You're never going to be a person of interest. Look at all the big time people of interest. Look at Blake Shelton. They put Blake Shelton on television, 8 million people on The Voice. Look at how likable he is. Look at how funny he is. Look at how charismatic he is. It's likable. It's like, man, I like this dude. If you like him, you may like his music. Okay. So likability is a big one. Now let me give you the next one. Connectivity. Connectivity is when I can connect to you anywhere, anytime. Right? I can drop you off in Nashville. I can drop you off in New York City. I can drop you off in China. I can drop you off anywhere. And you're like, boom, I can connect. Could you connect anybody, anywhere, anytime? In today's world on social media, are you relatable? Do you have a connectivity about you? You know, the number one thing people like about what I'm doing right now, my videos with my wife and I, when we do videos in the morning, because it's relatable. We laugh, we joke, we talk. They get to see that side of me. They get to see personality. They like it. People like that, right? I get twice as many views when I include my wife. So my point is, people of interest are like, hey, we're doing things. I want people to know my wife and I are a power couple. We fight the same battles you do, but we're trying to do big things in the world, man. We're not doing small things. We get up and work out together. We're trying to raise 2 kids. We're trying to skill up. We're trying to be multimillionaires. We're trying to grow things. We're going places. We're doing things. We're trying to be people of interest in the world. We want to inspire people. And it ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. So we want to be relatable, right? Think about Joanna Gaines and Chip Gaines, how much connectivity they have. How much likability do they have? How much money is that generated for them being people of interest? They're likable. They got a primary skill. They got high desire. They're doing it, man. They're doing it. And you're looking at them going, I can do that. I can do that. Okay. Last two things. People of interest have deep networks. And I have a different theory. I want to, maybe someday I'll write a book on networking, but I don't think you can be a person of interest unless you have something of value to offer other people. I don't network with people to hand out business cards. I want to bring something valuable to the table. I was in a meeting today and I said, look, I'm not saying this bragging, but nobody you have has a skill set like I do. If I bring that skill set to what you're doing and the momentum you have, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable what we can do, right? I think networking is about bringing something of value, not taking something. It's like, oh, let's include that person in our network. So for you, people of interest have deep networks. Can you pick up the phone? Can you call famous people? Can you get on the phone with a connector? Can you get something done? How hard do you work at building your top 25 relationships? Okay. And final piece, free prize. Free prize. And the free prize is something I get with you that I just don't get with anybody else. It's like you have a unique differential advantage. There's something special about you. And you got knowledge, you got skill, you got desire, you got confidence, you got likability, you got connectivity, you got deep networks, but dadgummit, man, there's something special about you. When you walk in a room, it lights up. When I'm around you, I feel better about me. When I'm with you, I think bigger. My confidence is higher. My swag is stronger. My dreamer is opened up. I feel like I can do anything. When I'm with you, I feel better about me. Does everybody see that? Now, I've been on tour with a guy named Tim Story. Tim Story is a celebrity life coach. He's been a pastor. He is a pastor, celebrity life coach. He's been on Oprah Winfrey Super Soul Sunday. He's mastered the art of the comeback. What I've really watched him do over the past two stops, and by the way, we just announced, I don't even know if we've announced it yet, that we're coming to Phoenix, Arizona, September 29th for the comeback tour. So if you want to see us live, Phoenix would be a great place to do that. What I really notice about Story is that he's not only interesting, he's interested. He asks great questions. He focuses on you. He's got an incredible likability. He's got a lot of connectivity. He's got deep networks of people. But there's just something special about him that's a free prize. It's like he can see things in people that other people can't see. Call it a prophetic gift. Call it the ability to, to see something in you that you don't see. And he's very good at saying, hey, Lori, I see something in you. You need to do this. Okay, boom. He's very likable. He's great one-to-one. He's great on a stage. He's great with people. He's great in intimate settings. He's great in big settings. Person of interest. What he does is he attracts people to him. Hey, we want you to speak. That's turned into millions of dollars for him, by the way. Hey, we want you to speak at this. Hey, we want you to come to this. Hey, I need you to coach me here. Some of the biggest people on the planet that you would know have hired him to be their coach. Why? Because of these ingredients he has. They're like, man, I'm lacking confidence. Where do I get confidence? Man, I'm lacking this. Where do I get it? Oh, I get it from there. Okay. So here's the deal. When you start having these ingredients, this is what Jim Rohn is saying. To attract other people, we must become attractive. Now, let me tell you what ain't attractive. Whining, complaining, sucking the life out of people, blaming, pointing fingers. You need to think people of interest come with batteries included. They don't whine. They don't complain. They don't make excuses. They don't play the victim role. They come in every day and they're like, boom, boom, boom. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's do it. I'm doing big things. Who's going with me? People of interest are operating at a higher frequency. Okay. Now, here's some of our objectives. Okay. If you got questions, please type those in. I'd like to tackle those as we go. Okay. Susan Sullivan said confidence. Thank you, Susan. Now we got ingredients. Okay. Were there 9? I think there were knowledge, skill, desire, confidence, likability, connectivity, deep networks. So I got 8. Okay. I got 8. Now let's move to a couple of things. I want to move to how people, this is really my third secret. And remember, thank you for the 65 people that stuck around. I want to encourage you, don't miss this last part, because this is very vital to you being a POI in the world. And I've coached some of the top people of interest in the world. I've coached people that are worth 250 million. I've been a part of a couple billionaires. Right now, I'm coaching some of the top people in the world that are producing at high levels. Today, I was with the high-level CEO of $1 billion company, and I'm working on his person of interest score to help him because he's in a turnaround job. And it's very important that I raise his status for recruiting purposes. And I'm building greatness factories. There's all kinds of cool things I'm doing, and I want to help you do big things in the world because you are capable of doing big things. But here's what I would tell you. People of interest have a message. People of interest understand this. Man, this is good. If I don't have a message that will repel some people, I won't have a message that attracts the right people. Everybody hear that? Took me years to understand this, guys. If I don't have a message that pushes some people away, I won't have a message that attracts some people to me. People do not talk about people that are not doing anything big. So if you're out there in the world, no matter what you're doing, and you don't have a message, you don't have anything to say, you are not saying it to the world. You're scared that other people will not like it. I would tell you, you're not interested in being a person of interest, because people of interest have a message. This is what I believe. This is why I believe it. This is what I'm going to do in the world. This is how I'm going to do it different. These are people I'm doing it for. If I could do this for you like I am doing it for them, what would stop us? What would stop us from doing business with each other? Okay. Now, Paul Tudor Jones paid Tony Robbins $1 million a year to be his coach for the last 20 to 30 years. $1 million. And they asked Paul Tudor Jones, what do you get for that $1 million? You're giving Tony Robbins $1 million a year. Here's how Paul Tudor Jones answered that question. I just want to know that he answers the phone when I pick up the phone and call him. You're paying $1 million for Tony Robbins just to pick up the phone. He said, yep, when I'm with that dude, just by being around him, I make millions of more dollars. I'm willing to give him $1 million of it just to be around him. How many times do you call him? 3 or 4 times a year. Now, how good would you have to be for somebody to pay you $1 million a year just to be able to call you 2 or 3 times a year? Let me ask it another way. How good would you have to be for somebody to pay to watch you work? You know, we're going to do a little thing like shadow Coach Burt for a day. Eventually we'll charge for this, where you come in, spend a day or 2 with me, you travel with me, you may fly on a private jet with me, you may go to an event with me, you may do something with me. And every time somebody does that, they always say the same thing, man, I'm thinking bigger. Victor Maya was at the $40,000 level of my coaching program, and he flew on my jet one time to one event, and I had a picture of that when he flew me the other day, and I sent it to him, and he said, you know what he said? He said, that was the day that I made a decision to go pro, Coach. When I flew with you one time, that's when I made a decision to go pro. Steve Martinez, will sign you up, big guy. Because when you get on that private jet going 400 miles an hour and you're moving and you're going city to city, to event, boom, we're doing big things. You know what? There's no way you can't go back home and think bigger. Okay? People of interest have a message, and that message is so strong. There's so much conviction. There's so much power that they have to give it to the world. You can't suppress it. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to go all over the world to share it. That is what people of interest do. They don't sit and hide and contract and retreat. They stand out in the world. Dadgummit, I want to be counted. I want to be somebody. Okay? So for you, you got to make up your mind what your message is. Right, Dan Green and Kyle James? What is your message? What do you want to say? What's the song you want to sing? Who do you want to sing it to? Will you get out there and sing it? What's going to happen when somebody's ugly toward you, or somebody that is mean to you? What's going to happen when somebody talks about you? What's going to happen when somebody gives you negative feedback? What are you going to do when you go out into the world and you give a little wimpy message and people go, forget that, man. People of interest have strong beliefs, and they're willing to share those beliefs with other people. That's where you got to get to in your life. Now, question is, will you distribute that message? Will you share that message? Now, if you notice, I just gave you a formula that I use when I'm doing interviews, podcasts, writing books, doing videos. I just shared the formula. Here's what I believe, guys. Here's why I believe it. Here's what I'm doing in the world because of that result of what I believe. Here's how I'm going to do it different than everybody else. Here are people we're doing it for. Okay? Get on the bus with us and let's go do something big together. Come on. We're doing something big. I ain't got time to talk about it. Let's go. I ain't got time to think about it. Let's go. I'm going somewhere big. You want to go with me? That's what people of interest are saying. People of interest have strong messages. Okay? Now, let me give you my last secret. And this is something that I really was reminded by reading Wallace D. Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich. Wallace D. Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich talks about people of advancement. These are people in the world that are advancing. You watch them and it's like, that woman is doing something big. I want to be a part of what she's doing. I don't know what she's doing, but man, I like it. There's a young lady that came to my Tim Story event a few weeks ago named Brittany Turner. And I didn't know her before the event, but she bought her own island. She's got her own island. She's done things with Richard Branson. She basically come to Nashville and learned how to develop and build. And she's responsible for much of the infill building, taking and tearing down buildings and building new creative projects. She's always involved in something big. And I've watched her and I'm like, dang, that girl's a person of advancement. I like her. I want to be associated with her. I want to do something with her. She's attracting opportunity. See, the one way to know if you're a person of interest or not, how much incoming demand do you have? How many people are out there calling you? How many people want to be involved with you? How many people want to shadow you? How many people want to work with you? How many people are calling you and say, man, I need you to be on my podcast. I need to pick your brain. I need to spend 15 minutes with you. I'm not talking locally. I'm talking nationally, internationally, right? So I want you to ask yourself, are you a person of advancement? When I'm with you, I feel better about me. Something about you. You're doing big things, man. I want to be a part of it. You call it leveling up, call it whatever you want, right? Because you're building something special. Remember that. People of interest are building something special. You know why I want to build greatness factories? Okay? Because it's something special. There are no greatness factories in the world. There are no places that combine training and podcast studios and gym and meditation spa and auditorium and edutainment, dream incubation. There's other concepts out there, but it ain't a greatness factory, a place where we manufacture greatness. You know why? That's part of my legacy. It's part of my person of interest strategy. Man, I want to do something nobody else is doing. It's not a we work. It's a place where we go where there are dynamic exchanges of energy. I want to license them. I want to franchise them. I want them in Texas and Florida and Miami. I want them everywhere. Okay? And then one day, when I'm old, I want people to say, man, that's the dude that created the greatness factory. And isn't that a cool concept? It's not the average factory or the complacency factory. What are you building that people say, man, that's cool? That person is a person of advancement. When people are with you, they got to feel one thing. They got to feel an impression of increase. Okay? Right? They got to feel an impression of increase. It's like, oh, whoa. I was with Paul Martinelli. I paid $2,200 to spend 90 minutes with Paul Martinelli. And you say, well, who's Paul Martinelli? Paul Martinelli was the mastermind behind building John Maxwell's $150 million coaching certification. Very first time I met Paul Martinelli, he stood on a stage. I sat in the back of the room, and I didn't know the words to call it, but I'm like, that dude's going places. This was back before he did it. He said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take John Maxwell. We're going to certify coaches. This was 10 years ago. Fast forward 10 years later. Now he's got 130,000 certified coaches. 150 million of revenue. And that day when I sat in the back of that room, I said, man, that dude, here's the words, is a person of advancement. I get the feeling of increase. When I'm with him, I feel like I can do something big. People will pay you good money if when they're with you, they feel like they can do something big. Now, what do people of interest do? Okay. Thank you for sticking around to the end, because I'm telling you, I got a good plan for you. I want to reward you with something for sticking with me. Almost 200 people signed up for this webinar. 63 of you showed up. 71 showed up. 63 are still on with me 55 minutes into it. And it tells me something about you. You're hungry, man. I can get you to the top of the mountain. Trust me. Now, when you think about raising your person of interest score, one of the fastest things you can do is there are 3 things you can do. Number 1, you need to reach up to raise your clout score. In the old days, there was something that measured your clout, right? Dan Green, right? Like at one time, Randy Gage had the number 1 clout score in the world. And the number 1 clout score meant that there were more people engaged with Randy Gage on social media than anybody in the world across all mediums. He has the number 1 clout score. Okay. Well, clout is person of interest. So how do I raise my clout score? Boom. I reach up. So last year I did events with Tim Grover. I've done events with Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Tim Story, Sharon Lecter. I reach up, Holly Perry. I reach up for clout. And I say, man, I want to do something with you. Now, let me tell you something. These are my friends. I've paid Tim Story $25,000 to speak at an event. I've paid Tim Grover $25,000 to speak at an event. Just because they're my friends don't mean they don't need to get paid. Okay. I understand the value. I paid Paul Martinelli $2,200 to spend 90 minutes with him, because here's what I know. Just give me 90 minutes with that dude and he will want to do something with me. Okay. That's what you got to start thinking, is sometimes you got to pay to play to get in the room. You got to invest, because if you're that good, all you need is an opportunity. So one of the ways I raise my clout score is I write books. I get on articles. I do retreats with big time people. I build coaching programs. I do free events for people, right? Because the market only sees snapshots. Oh, that dude's here. That dude's there. That dude's there. Oh, he's moving. Oh, he's circulating, which is why you see me moving. I'm on the bus. I'm on the jet. I'm in Nashville. I'm in New Jersey. I'm in New York. I'm in Miami. I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm in Phoenix. I'm in Dallas. Boom. What am I doing? Because the world only understands this. People are so consumed with their own self. They don't really pay attention to what you're doing. They just see snapshots. And there's these indicators like, oh, see that dude moving. He must be doing something. Oh, I see him doing something with Tim Stewart. Oh, I see him doing something with Sharon Lecter. Oh, boom, 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 boom. So the reason I'm telling you this is because when I look at your snapshot, I'm asking myself, what's she doing? I don't see a lot going on, right? You want people to think you're moving, you're creating, you got a message, you got a song to sing, you're singing it to the world. You may even be controversial, but at least you got something to say other than just nothing. Okay. Average, ordinary, unordinary, right? Like you want extraordinary, unique, creative, going places. So what I do is I just wrote down things you got to do. You got to be going places. You got to be elevating your status. You got to be creating. You got to be doing strategic partnerships. If the market believes for 1 second that you're going nowhere, your person of interest score is nothing. And why would I want to do business or give money to somebody that's going nowhere? I don't. I want to give money and help people. Now, I'm in Nashville tonight. I'm staying in Nashville. If I go down to Broadway and I walk by one of those country music bars and I hear song belting out and I'm interested, and I walk in there and I see a little country music singer, a little baby star that's singing her little heart out or his little heart out. If I see them distributing their talent to the world at a high level, I want to help them. I'm like, man, I want to help you. Man, I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to help you. I may help you in money. I may help you in support. I may help you, right? I just want to help you, because when you see a person distributing their talent, you want to help them. Right, Brian King? You want to help them. When you're doing big things, you want to help them. That is person of interest. So what's the action plan for you tonight, right? What's the action plan? Well, you stuck around for 1 hour. And I told my team that I want to reward people that stuck around for an hour. What I want to do with you is I want to continue coaching you. So in the month of September, we're going to offer you the ability to be mentored by me in a 4-week mentoring program through person of interest, how to speak, how to write your books, how to play at the highest frequency, how to become known in the world. And we're doing that coaching program. Something like this to be personally mentored by me is typically $5,000, $10,000. Some of the people are investing $25,000. And we're going to be doing that for you at $997. 4 weeks mentoring with me each week. I'll be teaching you how to speak, coach, train, lead. Okay. And we call that $1 Million mentoring. I'm going to teach you, man, everything I know about being a person of interest. I'm going to teach you. We're going to talk about the books. We're going to talk about everything. So if you're interested in being coached by me for the next 4 weeks in the month of September, then my team is posting in the links, a link there. Okay. It's a real simple link. Rachel Putney, I've got publishing programs. I've been nationally published by some of the top people in the world. I'm working on a major book deal right now on Flip the Switch that I think I'll get a 6-figure advance on. I've written 17 books in the market. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you want to speak, because speaking is part of being a person of interest. If you want to do webinars, if you want to create a product, if you want to take a message to the world over the next 4 weeks, I want to be your coach. I'm auditioning. Tonight I gave you 1 free hour. I want to be your coach. We call that $1 Million mentoring. And it's a 4-week cycle with me once a week, 1 hour, and plus the replays. And what we want to do, man, is we want to take you through a cycle to be a person of interest. I believe that requires you need to write a book. I think it needs to be that you need to learn how to do a podcast. You need to learn how to get in Forbes magazine like I did this past week. You need to learn how to be featured in local newspapers. You need to know. Now, what's the benefit of this? You may be sitting out there and you may be saying, man, I could never do what Coach Burt's doing. It's not true. I was a high school basketball coach. And if I can go from a high school basketball coach making $40,000 a year, some years $24,000 a year, to buying a private jet, to traveling around the world, to being hired by some of the top companies in the world, I can show you how to do it, man. My wife is a great example. Right in her first book, she had no idea what she was doing. Her person of interest status is so much higher today. Companies are paying my wife to come in and coach the women. And she didn't even know she was going to be doing that. So what we want to offer to you tonight is called $1 Million mentoring. Those programs are typically $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. And just so you guys know, I'm not taking on any one-to-one people in my life anymore for anything less than $100,000. It's just where I am in life. I'm being hired by major companies. Today I'm with a $1 billion mortgage company here. And so to get coaching from me, this is the best way to do it at one of the best price points that you can do it at $997. That gets you 4 weeks with me. And one thing I will do tonight, if you take action tonight, I will give you one ticket to my Flip the Switch boot camp, October 30th and 31st. So if you get, that's a $500 ticket. Spend 2 days with me at my lodge in Tennessee. I didn't tell my sales team I was going to do this, so you guys pay close attention. If you take action tonight, in the next 2 hours, what I'll do is I'll give you one spot to come to the lodge, be personally mentored by me and a small group of people through my boot camp, Flip the Switch. That's October 30th and 31st. And if you missed that one, I do them in 2021. If you can't come to the one October 30, 31, come to one next year. We'll credit it toward that. But $997 is the offer tonight, guys, to be personally mentored by me over the next 4 weeks in a small group setting through the $1 Million mentoring. I'll teach you every tactic I know on person of interest. I'll teach you what I did to go from a high school basketball coach to buying millions of dollars of real estate, to buying a private jet, to doing all of those things. So it's less than $250 a session, Gabby says. It's incredible value, man. Plus, Gabby, Plus, I'm giving them Flip the Switch, which is a crazy. I can't even believe I'm doing this. Come on, folks. So if you're out there, I'm challenging you, man. Be coached by America's coach. Okay. John Shing said he's going to do it tonight. Rachel Putney, you ought to think about doing this. Anybody that wants to do it big, you guys need to think about it. Gabby, post the link. Kara, post the link in there for these folks to take action tonight. This is only going to last for the next 2 hours. John Bell said he's in. Okay. Lori Stiles already in. Come on, Sandra. Is that Chandra? Really considering it. 30 and 31, October 30 and 31. There's the link, folks. Go right there and sign up. Car Coach says hello. Man, I love that person. There's John's email address. Thank you, John, for joining us. John Bell said sign him up. Tricia, love you. Appreciate you. This has been so much fun for me. I love doing these things, man. I love helping people around the country, and I love working with aspiring people of interest. So let's close it up tonight, guys. If you have any questions for me, I really want to encourage you and challenge you. If you're thinking about doing this, don't think about it anymore. Just do it. Sean Vernon would tell you he's invested 12, 15, 20,000 with me, and I don't know how much it's been worth to him, but he can probably type that in. He's already made, or he's invested. I think he's saying he invested 30. How much more have you made because of your investment in the coaching? I think Sean would tell you, based on that $30,000 investment, he's going to make hundreds. All right. So he invested 30,000 with me being his coach. He's made 200,000, and I've only been his coach for the last 6 months. So if you're out there and you're considering this, I really want to challenge you. Flip the Switch. Flip the Switch will be October 30th and 31st. I'm going to give that to you free tonight. That's a $500 value. I'm going to give you personal mentoring from me for 4 weeks. That's a $5,000 value. We're giving you $6,000 worth of stuff for literally $997. So if you're out there on the fence, I'm not trying to hard sell you. Please hear my heart here. I'm not trying to hard sell you, but I'm telling you, this is something you need. Okay. When will we start? The date starts in September, Chandra. Anyone you miss, we send you the replay. So we start doing the sessions next Tuesday. We will be doing the sessions every single week. And September, it's typically Tuesday at 4 p.m. And if you miss that, then we do send you the replay. So if we'd love to have you, if you miss anything, then my team is great. They will send you everything that we did. So I want to thank you guys for signing up tonight. I want to thank you for taking action. And more than anything, thank you for letting me share my heart with you. People of interest move the world. Mother Teresa, when she talks, people listen. And that is why she's a person of interest. You spend your life helping other people, and that is the ultimate reason you want to become famous, because of the number of people you can help in the world. So God bless you. Thank you for taking action. If you're interested, please, I'll let my sales team post it one more time. Lori Sty has invested a lot of money with me. She's been one of my favorite clients to coach of all time. She's so hungry. There's the link, guys. Go right there. My sales team is on here. I'll leave it up for just a few minutes. If you're interested, then, man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're my hero, too. Thank you for saying that. God bless you. I'll leave the line up here for just a few minutes. If you want to take action, take action. The sales team is right here and available to help you. We'd love to have you in that 4-week mentoring for $997 plus a free Flip the Switch. So God bless you. Thank you, sales team. You guys stay on for just a minute, and you can take anybody that needs you. Okay. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Everybody needs a good coach in life.